Hello, and welcome to episode 5 of Digital Suffering. This will be part 1 of our E3 coverage. Not so much live, but as live as it's going to get. I'm your co-host, Steven Something, and with me is our other co-host,
PhamtomLimb.
Right, what's first up on the menu? For starters, we have Creature in the Well. This looks to be a third-person action game in that it's a sort of top-down view. You control a character, you run around a sort of dungeon, and it's got a very interesting interaction mechanic. It's a sort of... Essentially, it's like Transistor or Hades or one of those action games meets a Breakout. So there's lots of projectiles in play, and the character has a sword of some description that can be used to knock back the projectiles in order to have them hit objects and interact with them. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Initially, it looked just like an action game, but it's more like a puzzle game.
Yeah, it's got definitely all sort of all puzzle elements to it. You have to clear each room, work out the bits that you have to hit in order for it to proceed to the next part. Not much is shown in... It's the trailer doesn't give away too much. A lot of the interaction seems to be with environmental hazards more than sort of enemies that can, move around the room and stuff.
It kind of reminded me, in a very, very loose sense, not anything major, but it reminded me of like A Link to the Past.
Oh, yes.
Where you went into a room and you had to complete either killing the enemies or...
solving the puzzles. Yeah,
and then it would progress to the next room. And that top-down view was very indicative of it.
Yeah, actually, yes. It's got that whole feel to it. Very stylized graphics, which looks very nice. It's
like cel-shaded meets...
sort of, it's a sort of cartoon block color style. Yeah. Very sort of bold colors, sort of line arts, aesthetic to it. Only on the Switch, is that right? Is it Switch exclusive?
No, I think this is coming out on Steam as well.
Okay, so the PC. I wonder what the control scheme will be like.
The control scheme will be use a bloody controller.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Steam flights. Yeah.
And this year as well. It's done.
Oh, okay. I wasn't anticipating
imminent arrival.
Us talking about something that would be released in the immediate future. It's like I was not aware.
Almost everything else is March 2020 at E3, but there are a couple 2019. A lot of those are ones I think we've already seen.
It always bugs me when they, preview games that aren't, that it should not be allowed to preview a game if it's more than 6 months out.
Oh, same for movies, right?
Yeah.
I remember...
Oh, Sonic the Hedgehog, man. It was like, when's it coming out? November. Wait, what month are we in? Anyway.
Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. It's definitely... Now it definitely will be November because they got to redo it all. Right, moving swiftly on for the main course. Well, as much as it may be, we have Elden Ring.
This is one of those main courses that's just a blob in the middle of the plate.
It's a sort of little splash of sauce and some oddly shaped vegetables, and you're like, is that all? I'm hungry. Right. So Elden Ring, brought to us by the genius that is Hidetaka Miyazaki from Software. From Software, and George R.R. Martin, because he has nothing better to do with his time than work on a video game.
That isn't the project that he's been working on for 20 years.
Well, can you imagine if this game follows the same release schedule as Game of Thrones? Imagine if it was episodic.
No.
Imagine if it was episodic.
No.
You're like, right, we're just waiting for the final chapter of the game. It'll be released like 50 years from now.
Pass. I'm out.
So the trailer doesn't... It's just flavour CGI more than anything. One of the characters does have a prosthetic arm.
But is it prosthetic?
Well, the thing is, it just all clips in. There's no mechanism. So the entire arm is fake. We don't know if the arm thing, but it's very reminiscent of Sekiro with the prosthetic arm. So it may say, well, we like that mechanic so much, we're going to have one of our characters have that. But the thing is, they're introducing a lot of characters. We don't know, is it multiple protagonists? Is it anything? I mean, we're just speculating here.
They've gone back to the blacksmith, which is very symbolic of Dark Souls. That the hub of it was always you returning to a blacksmith to upgrade. But again, serious problems with their appendages.
Yeah. But that's it. In the end, is it going to be just a new Dark Souls game where all the lore is filled in by George R. Martin instead of the From Software team?
Probably. I mean, from the audio of the trailer, it is alluding to something. They're kind of trying to make it a lot bigger than it's the sum of its parts.
Mm. But I mean, with the Dark Souls and all the From Software things, they all hint and allude to a far wider universe than what the player experiences, and there's lots of lore and stuff. A lot of the characters, the enemies, have these weird backstories that it's like they need more. More time should be given to these. This is just some kind of big monster that kills you a load of times. You kill it, and then eventually you move on. And there's a whole thing where I read up. It was one of the Dark Soul enemies. It was this optional boss. It was this like lady dragony thing, and you didn't need to fight her, and she doesn't even attack you. But if you keep attacking her, she then fights you, and it turns out the story is really tragic. She's trapped in this hell thing, this hell universe, and it's like she's just minding her own business, and then you come along and kill her, and it's like you're the monster, not her, really. And it's a whole thing. So it's just a different flavour of fantasy, I guess. I mean, people lap that up because I have not played any of the games, but when I read about the reviews and I read about things, I am attracted to this whole these I'm attracted to stories. So I find it all very appealing. Makes you wonder though.
With that in mind, it does show two people that either could be the protagonist and or the boss.
Mm.
One of which is female.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit of a departure. I mean, and then there's one that's clad, almost has no recognisable attributes of being, I don't know, like an independent character. He's just a knight, and he's thrusting a giant spear into what looks like to be sort of giant demon.
Well, if you looked at that knight character, it doesn't almost look human. If you let it come up on the video, it's sort of like if you look at the face, can you see it doesn't look. It doesn't look like a normal, knight armor. It's very smooth. It looks almost like a monster's,
Well, it kind of looks like almost like something trapped inside the armor.
Yeah, it looks like an essentially demon wearing armor. If you look at the hands, almost look clawed. If you go through the far side arm looks like weirdly. It's all very hard to tell because it's moving very fast. Possibly it could be just very ornate armor, and this is the good guy stabbing the big bad. We don't know.
Also, yeah, it does seem like the way it's cut. It looks like he's plunging a spear into in the next scene is a demon on what looks like he's on his knees and sort of starts to burn. But this is clad in slightly different armor than the actual demon in the next part of the sequence, where it almost looks like they're trying to say, I mean, it could be, it might not be. Also, that dude looks amazingly big compared to the dead.
It also looks like a dwarf.
Looks like he's on his knees to me.
Okay. It looks like a dwarf. You know, I see it. It looks like it's like a dwarf. You know, if you had a dwarf in ancient Japan, you know, that's what it would look like.
But it's almost like this blacksmith character is definitely doing something bigger than just forging something. It's
maybe they're forging the One Ring.
There is a little bit of that in there, isn't there?
Well, you know, we get sort of not much from the name,
but it's broken. The Elden Ring is broken.
Yeah, and it needs to be reassembled or something. Right, and moving on to the next thing. We have Ghostwire Tokyo, brought to us by Tango Gameworks, which is headed up by Shinji Mikami, Capcom vet, who worked best known for the Resident Evil series. However, not survival horror. Stated as not survival horror. However, we kind of got to wait. I mean, you get the feel that it could be just like slightly survival horror, but with better controls and stuff, so that you actually stand a chance when fighting against, you know, the enemies. Do you remember reading something? What's it called? Where you could they mentioned something about you know, there's different spirits in the world. You know, sort of hostile as well as friendly. No, was I confusing with another game? It said, I'm sure it was about this one. It said that you have to be careful, you know, which, you know, who you interact with, because, you know, they may not help you or something. Anyway,
I like the setting. I mean, it's just basically Tokyo.
No, yeah, and I love some of this, you know, thing like those, you know, people with the, you know, the just traditional garb, but they're like semi-transparent and all glowing and stuff. The Japanese supernatural thing, you've got the sort of Oni mask there. The noodles are not so scary, but, you know, if they're cold, then perhaps...
It's definitely kind of drawing on that duality between the normal world and the spiritual world.
Yeah, and I mean, if you saw that arc, it almost like... It was like a change between worlds. So I wonder if they might have... You know, one of the mechanics is that you can perhaps switch between them, between the spiritual world and the real one. But
visually, it looks very good, but we're seeing FMV, so
yeah. But the amount of work that's gone into the FMV is just appallingly lots. I mean, just for something that's just setting it up, it's like,
this is footage we'll never use again, and it took months to make.
Yeah. Obviously, it's like the CG department that's doing that, but still, it's like.
Let's hope the assets are being used in varied environments.
Yeah.
Because, like, there are some games that every environment, even though it's meant to be a different place, looks unremarkably similar. Which is disturbing and boring as well, because you switch off, your brain switches off. You're like, oh, this is another building in another place.
You lose the immersion, because... Yeah. It's like these are just reused game assets as opposed to the real world where things just feel and look different for the most part.
Yeah, especially when you're sort of you're taking that sort of traditional, you know, there's looks like Shinto temples and shrines and things, and then you've got like corporate buildings and modern malls and things.
Although in Japan they have those things next to each other.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. But it's like there needs to be a different differentiation between that. You like you experience it.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah,
that's all we can really say.
Have you played The Evil Within?
I've watched a fair bit of it.
What is that like? I can't remember.
It's basically you play a detective who's looking into a disturbance, and I think it starts off in a mental asylum or something like that, or a hospital, and some weird stuff goes down, and you're chasing a particular person, and then it kind of gets sort of darker and darker, and there's excuse me, there's like mutated people and a whole spiritual side to it as well.
Okay.
It looks very interesting, but it's one of those games I don't have time to jump into.
How was it? Was it like, survival horror Resident Evil style game?
Yeah, but less of the collecting stupid shit.
There was more emphasis on the action.
And putting it in a bloody box for later. I might need these later. Get to the end of the game. I never used these.
This is starting to look familiar, yeah.
I don't think there was any of that. It was like you could pick things up, and it was like ammunition that was used sparingly, and there was puzzle elements to it,
but it was more action.
Yeah, it was.
I'm getting the feeling that when they say it's not survival horror, it's going to be an evil, a step again beyond the Evil Within, where it's the same thing but more action again, and that your character is more powerful, so that you aren't just running from the enemy because they can just kick your ass. It is, like games like what's the ninja game called?
Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, like those games where you it's much more action. It's essentially a combat thing. And with your character, as in the trailer, he's got bow, arrow. He has magic powers, so it's likely that at least for the first bit, you're going to be fighting on equal footing. So it is less the survival horror and more of the action adventure style.
Is he going to be like Gandalf and never actually use his magic powers?
or use it, but just in
cutscenes.
Just in cutscenes.
Just to open doors.
Or in flashbacks.
Yeah, even better. Yeah. Flashbacks.
Or when no one else is there to see it.
I'm going to turn the light on in this room.
It's like, I turn on magic powers, and I used them like 10 minutes ago. You should have seen it. It was just totally magical. I totally smoked that demon.
It's weird though. He did say they did make a point of saying action game.
Yeah. So, but I mean, you looking at the Evil Within, that's already quite a fair bit of action. So, just stepping beyond that isn't too much of a stretch, really. But it is kind of like what we would say. Yeah, this is what their studio would. This is the kind of game their studio would do, isn't it? Horror elements, third-person action adventure.
Yeah, it's totally in the mold.
Right. Next up, we have Cyberpunk 2077, starring John Wick in his most futuristic role yet. Oh yeah, not John Wick. Some guy who looks like him. It's like, did Keanu Reeves really need to be in this? Not necessarily.
Well, no, it's not about needing to or not needing to. It was.
They need an actor to.
It was genuinely surprising.
It was genuinely surprising, but it's not like he hasn't done a shit ton of sci-fi in the past. Anyway, in fact, he did the. Did you ever see the? He did an animated thing. I forgot what it was called. Essentially, it was like. They sort of filmed it and then they sort of drew over the...
that was a terrible film.
What was the name of the terrible film?
Scanner Darkly, I think.
Yeah, so something like...
It was truly awful. And I'm not even talking about the visuals. The visuals were meh, and the story was truly awful. They were genuinely unlikable characters.
I watched like a couple of minutes of it and I remember nothing.
But this is almost... This trailer... for the game is almost Johnny Mnemonic in a nutshell.
That's it. Yes, the transport, the chip.
Yes, thing. In his head, and then the deal goes bad.
Someone is saying, "Okay, we got like Keanu Reeves on board.
It's a joke that he's in this because of that. If he wasn't, I wouldn't have made the connection. Of probably. Course.
Supposing you take control of his character later on, and he puts the chip in. They just totally rip. There's rip all of Keanu Reeves' sci-fi career over. They discover that he is the one, and he's got to fight against the machines.
He's in the Matrix.
Yeah, that's not. He's not in the Matrix, but he fights against the machines. He's transporting a chip. There's scanners. They're darkly scanning.
The thing about this game, right? There is gameplay footage of it, but I think people are blinded by this lovely FMV sequence that's very rich and detailed.
But isn't it?
But people are blinded by all this and seem to forget that it's a first-person game.
Oh, okay.
Only when they watch I think there was a 50-minute gameplay footage that was released on the back of the trailer as well, and there was also one when they first showed it. It was
last year, wasn't it? Yeah.
And that's fine, and it does show it being first person.
I don't remember it being first person, but I didn't watch the trailer once.
It's almost dishonest. This trailer's almost dishonest. None of this is going to go down, and when it does go down,
it has gone down before you take control.
Yeah, and when it does go down, it's going to be completely different. None of this is going to happen like this, right?
Although, I mean,
there's a couple of touches here where it does show you in first person, through the eyes of that person. But honestly, it's almost dishonest, like I say.
So we can say it's very much like the other game I'm blanking on.
The thing is that there's so many. This game's had a million different games, and it's only the last two. And this Cyber City seems to be aping it a lot.
Deus Ex.
Yes. Invisible War.
Ex, all of them.
Yeah, well. You
got the prosthetics. This is more like the modern ones, but. What's it called? When you saw the prosthetic arm and stuff like that, it was just this is, CG Project's Deus Ex.
Human Revolution. And the direct sequel to Human Revolution. This game apes them completely. Yes, the augmentations, the city itself. Obviously, this is more role-play. Well, actually, that had role-playing elements as well. It had a skill tree and all that. That's not really role-playing. Anyway. That's like a skill-based system. But yes, this game, I think people forget that game exists.
Well, technically I forgot it. I was like, what the hell is it called? Yes, it's. But the thing is, it's been going such a long time. A lot of episodes,
25 years at least.
First episode 2000, the first game.
No, it must have been even earlier than that.
The series consists of 6 games. Deus Ex 2000, Visible War 2003, 2011...
No, but there's a game called Deus Ex. It was on floppy disks. That's pre-2000.
But that's not part of the series. The Deus Ex series starts... The one created by Ironstorm.
I don't care. No. The first game, I don't care if it's in the series, it's still the first game.
No, but that's a different game. That's not... We're not talking about that because we're not talking about that.
It's not canon.
It's not canon, and it's not made. It's made by someone else. Anyway, but yeah. So 19 years, well, 16 years from 1 to 6. It's got that whole, if you change the title and you call it Deus Ex Revolution or something. Just going to. Oh shit! That's already taken.
That's literally Human Revolution is literally the title of it,
and called Johnny Mnemonic. Deus Ex Mnemonic smuggling chips, whatever. But it doesn't matter, right? The
only difference with this is allegedly it's an RPG and it's first person.
But the other ones were RPGs. They were absolutely first person RPGs.
No, they weren't. They were first person. They were third person.
First person.
The third person.
The first one was first person.
Yeah. Invisible War was.
Okay,
I'm talking about Human Revolution.
Okay, but the first person, third person thing, that's a minor, but...
It's not. It's not.
Okay.
But my point is that this game apes a lot of that. If this game truly is an RPG, and not the kind of game that has RPG elements... and there is a distinction there. I know people struggle with it sometimes, but if you've got a skill tree of, abilities, you're still playing Tomb Raider. I'm sorry, right?
Skill tree does not equal RPG.
Exactly. Whereas Human Revolution just had like perks.
Well, the thing is, I mean, if you've got stats and you say, right, I want to add points to strength.
Exactly. That's more RPG-like.
Well, I think I'm more flexible on my definitions for RPG. And the simpler ones, I think, would still be count for in my opinion. But yeah, like I said, I mean, if you had gave this a subtitle and said this was part of the Deus Ex series,
nobody would back.
Everyone would they'd cheer and whoop, because it totally blends in. And I mean, you could argue that all Cyberpunk, futuristic games, converge on a similar aesthetic, but just the depiction of the character, it has that much more. It's much more that than anything else.
I like how they're leaning on that you can do get the same end result with different ways of getting there. So you can be forceful, or you can hack stuff, or you can
with Cyberpunk as well.
No, yeah, I'm talking about Cyberpunk.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's fine, but that's going to get lost in you just playing the game. You're not even going to think about that after the first hour.
I mean, you say that, but I mean, I read through things people playing like the Deus Ex series where, again, they had to give people were for the most part given freedom to, do a pacifist route, go genocide, to play the way they wanted. And some people, they complained because the game forced them. You could do almost perfect pacifist run, except for there was like one boss that you had to kill because it was part of the story. And I can't remember. I think for one of the games they actually patched it so that you could, actually do. You didn't have to kill the boss in the end. I can't remember now. It's been a while, but they gave those options. And if CD Projekt are following that, then that's great, because it allows for replayability. It is like, how far can you get through the game, if you're just going to go around tranquilizing everyone and then stealing everything they own. What is this? Deathloop, yes.
I mean,
this was one of the games I wanted to talk about, but I can't remember anything about it.
One thing, just go back to
yes,
Cyberpunk.
Yes, I remember.
For a hot minute.
Cyberpunk.
I do want to play it.
Okay.
If it's going to get my money on release, highly doubtful.
You need them to send you review copy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I need
CD
that.
Projekt, send us a review copy. We'll give it like 10 thumbs up.
Also, CD Projekt have become the new Bethesda, and in that mould, are looking to have The Witcher on every single format, just like Skyrim.
But
as was announced, The Witcher 3 will be on the Switch.
They're porting it to
in 540p. What's the point?
Doesn't it support 900p?
Yeah, but they can't get the game to run at the needed clip rate in order for it to have all the moving parts that it needs. So they have dumbed down. I don't care.
That's right.
I'm not a resolution junkie, but
it does strike me that perhaps they could simplify models and just rejig textures so that it fits in memory.
Apparently not. 540p.
Because the thing is,
suck it up.
We've seen games like that ran on the PS3, the PS2, and stuff like that, where developers pushed the device to the max, and they wrung every single bit of performance, and they got them to run at 30 frames, 60 frames, and this is like, well, we're porting something that's what, 3 years old,
at least
4 years old, and it's like we can't seem to get it running on this modern hardware without severely crippling it.
Yep.
I find that appalling. But
yep.
We're not going to get a review copy, are we?
Thumbs up for that.
I give it 6 thumbs up. Okay, well, I mean, it's to be applauded in the respect that they're getting it ported, but it just seems like optimization has been forgotten somewhere. Anyway, shall we talk about Deathloop and what little has been revealed about it?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Deathloop. Now,
another Bethesda game.
They're very Bethesda sent us a review copy. Well, it's not out for review yet. Send us a copy of something. So you got the 2 protagonists, and they are groundhogging daying their way through some kind of island filled with zombies.
Sorry, I just have a little problem there. I don't know when this sequence was rendered, who storyboarded it, or whatever, but I can't help but say that first scene...
Idris Elba.
No. That first scene where the guy wakes up in a almost barren landscape with a thing in the background as a point of focus could not just be a rip-off of many other things, but of late, Thanos in the Avengers movie.
What?
When he goes to get the Soul Stone. Just saying. Anyway.
Okay.
Anyway.
That's a really weird thing to be ripping off, and I don't think that was anyway intentional. So
you say that, but
the trailer...
the mind does... sometimes you don't even remember the inspiration.
Yeah. Okay, I guess that's right. So with Deathloop, you have the 2 protagonists. One, I think, is called Athena, I think. I can't remember now. But they got like full names, and then they give like abbreviated versions, which is like... and they're opposing each other because they're trapped on an island where some kind of phenomenon is making them live repeatedly through a time loop. And one of them wants to break out the time loop, and the other one wants to prolong it, keep them in it for as long as possible, which seems a bit weird. But the thing is, it's a thought, right? If it's a time loop, if, like, say it was me and you, and we're like, I want to like break out, you want to, keep us trapped in here or whatever. If one of us dies, say I wanted to break out and I kill you, then the game can't possibly repeat because I break out and the game's ended. Whereas for the other person, if they kill me, then the time will keep looping. So for only one instance will the plot actually make sense. Because only one character will it be. Because if one person dies, the other person, the loop doesn't reset just because the person dies.
No, but they have to survive, and there's other people, other almost crazed.
Yeah. There's
individuals.
It's like a weird island full of lunatics. Everyone has guns. And
yeah, so if you don't survive them, then you're going to get killed and reset as well.
Yeah,
in effect.
It's just, I mean, I like the premise, but it's.
I'm unsure. Is this a 2-player game? I mean, it's basically Arcane Lion. They're basic. This is the I don't know, the next effort after Dishonored. The same studio.
Yeah, it's the Dishonored studio.
Right, so they've just built on what they've already made. The graphical style is very much like Dishonored 2, a little bit more detailed, I think. But is it a 2-player game and it's one-on-one, where you have to environmental enemies and PvP and PvE?
Well, the problem is that this is just pure cinematic. There's just no gameplay. I would assume that you can probably play through it, with each, you can play the 2 scenarios from each protagonist's point of view. It's just like, it feels like while the premise is good, they're stretching a few things just to make it hold.
Has that beginning part?
Here we go.
Looks almost like We Happy Few. Graphically.
Oh yeah, we happy for you. Yeah. Okay, so Cinematic Trail, blah blah, Deathloop. Right, so we got Colt and Juliana, who are stuck in the unending cycle on the frozen island of Black Reef. In the trailer, two assassins opposing goals. Juliana wants to protect the cycle, while Colt hopes to break it. And the only way to do that is by killing each other, and they do over and over again. And it's like... Okay, so if she wants a prolonged cycle, she will always have to kill him. But if he can kill her and everyone else and get the hell out, he wins. But she's just... she just wants to stay in a nightmare hell where, she gets to kill people over and over again. Well, maybe she's into that. Some people are, I guess. So in that case... And she also has...
They do seem to have powers.
Yeah.
He seems to have some kind of telekinetic force push that he uses against one of the grunts, and she seems to have some sort of blink teleport,
like what's
much
her
like
name?
Dishonored.
Or the Overwatch woman who I can't remember now. I'm blanking on names today. What is the character from Overwatch? The one, the time jumping one?
I don't have time for Overwatch.
And yes, okay. Yes, and they have powers. Definitely freedom to play however you want, depending on which character you're playing. Because it'd be weird if you controlled Julian and said, "Well, I'm just going to stop the time loop now." Meticulous levels. How can you have... It's an island, though. Blah, blah, blah. Let you take a friend to the role of either assassin and fight it out. That'd be interesting if you could do like a 1v1. You literally play through the game several hours later before you even encounter each other for the first time. That'd be a long co-op. Well, co-op, a versus match, wouldn't it?
Could you imagine if you were playing through as him...
Yeah.
Trying to beat the game, and then people could invade your game.
Oh, some Dark Souls.
Yeah, as her to try and kill him.
And you kill one, and they keep well, the thing is, they wouldn't respawn unless you reset the loop.
No. But she would.
No, but the thing is, it does. There's
so there
loop
could be
resetting.
I know, but
loop
time difference.
Loop resetting, not respawning. I don't know that they would have Juliana respawn.
No. When I say it's like when you kill an invader in Dark Souls, that dude's gone.
Yeah,
but it doesn't stop another person invading you.
Okay, but they would take over of one of the other island's denizens or something, perhaps.
No. But if you're still online, you're open to be, because essentially all you're doing is resetting the loop.
You could, yeah.
But if it is a time loop, nothing's a time loop. Let's put it that way.
Nothing's a time loop,
right? It will just be a deviation of...
Oh, okay, just as a gameplay mode where you could have Juliana's just running at you endlessly.
No, not all together at the same time.
Yes, but every time you kill one,
yes,
someone else can take over a new...
Imagine that.
That would be terrible.
That would be amazing.
It would be terrible.
Because you would have to constantly fight against the...
Can you imagine stacking all the bodies to build yourself like a Juliana mountain?
You would become John Wick against that one person.
That you would be... It would drive you insane after a while. You would start to see everyone... You'd be like, where is she? Where is she?
Welcome to Dark Souls, yeah.
Yeah. Did the Dark Souls 3 have that mechanic still?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're all three of them. Okay. I thought that was a very interesting take on the multiplayer thing. But they could also help you, couldn't they? When the invades?
Yeah.
Or was it?
No.
It was only as an enemy.
No. If you brought them in as a partner,
yes,
then they could help you.
But if they invaded,
the invading force
was always an enemy.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was different kinds of invaders.
But the thing is, if you invaded, could you say, "I'm going to help this person even though I'm a monster," and just go around attacking other monsters?
You don't invade as a monster.
But you just invade as a player character.
Yeah.
But that means you could still run around and do steal all the health pickups.
You can't pick anything up.
Oh, what a shame! They run ahead of you.
They didn't think of this over breakfast and then just implement.
And they're just
there was a whole system.
They steal all the loot and throw it off a mountain, so you have to complete the rest of the game with no more pickups. I suppose you could just run if you could kite all the monsters and lead them to the player.
No, because the monsters actually don't interact with the invader.
They've really made it easy.
But I mean, if you're trying to kill the invader and they back into monsters then you're going to trigger that monster. You're going to get within its
so
triggering zone.
The monster will target you and not them.
Of course.
Okay.
And then it's just a case that they can just keep attacking you while this, whatever it is, Taurus demon coming at you, and you're just poking them as well. Makes for a hard time.
Get good, as the saying goes,
or die.
Right.
And I have to say, we did. I did put it into the last podcast as a wow moment of what the hell. We were talking about Phantasy Star last week before E3 started, and by the time I was editing the footage and E3 had started, and the Xbox, well, I say E3 had started, the Xbox conference had happened, and they had just dropped that little tidbit that Phantasy Star was coming to the West.
I planned that.
No, you didn't.
I did. Totally planned it.
Nobody planned it because everyone had forgotten about a 2-year-old game except you.
About an 8-year-old game. But yes.
And now Phantasy Star 2 is coming to the Xbox One with
and PC.
Crossplay.
In America only.
With crossplay and integration and online and everything.
They was called, someone tweeted to the director and said, what about EMEA region? And he went, well, we can't announce anything at the moment. And it's like, dude, what? It's like, what? So it may be region locked to America.
Well, on PC you can't really do that, can you?
Well, yes, technically can't, but I mean, you could.
I'm pretty sure it's probably just going to come out of Steam.
Yeah, but
because it's Sega.
Can Steam region lock?
Yes, Steam can definitely region.
So there you go. They could.
It does it with releases of games.
Yeah, so they can be
You can just log in a different country.
I don't know how to do that.
Anyway,
although having said that, I'm going to America next year, so I could literally log in America and see if I can get around that.
Christ.
I would have to play a hell of a lot in the short period of time, but anyway, yes. So, like I said, I planned that.
Yeah.
Moving swiftly on.
Reason I mention it is also because I saw the next game we're going to talk about, literally just a trailer with somebody on Twitch talking about something else entirely, and this was just running in the background, and haven't yet found any amount of details, but it reminded me, there's elements that reminded me of Phantasy Star. And it's called Astral Chain. And
it sounds familiar.
And it's coming out on the Switch, which might be another reason to buy a Switch.
Astral Chain. I think... I'm trying to remember, because I saw a number of trailers. I'm trying to remember if I saw this one.
Because I think this happened pre the Nintendo Treehouse. Or it might have happened the first thing of the Nintendo Treehouse, which I totally missed, annoyingly. It also kind of reminds me of Metal Gear Rising in its sort of crazy battle mechanics.
Yeah.
So it kind of has the feel of like the look of Phantasy Star, and then the crazy over the top sort of Japanese-esque battle, but it looks good.
No, it looks very nice. Yeah, it's definitely got that the sort of the Phantasy Star 2 feel to it. Although the combat for PSO is a bit more simplified. This one looks to be more action and combo orientated, more Devil May Cry style or Bayonetta.
Yeah, I'm really liking the graphical style. It's just the game.
It's futuristic.
And
futuristic monster.
Yeah, seems to have like helpers.
I wonder.
Well, it seems like there's two characters. There's a male and a female, but they seem to have helpers where it's almost like a
summon. Yeah,
like that's on the end of the chain. Ironically, is a giant robot type. Well, I say giant.
I wonder if this is
slightly bigger than man size.
Yeah, Platinum Games. So this is from the makers of Bayonetta, then. Hence the combat. It is Bayonetta style because
it has a lot of Bayonetta in it.
It is.
DNA is there.
Yeah, it's the same makers. So
I had the mount as well, running on that looked like a wolf or a dog, cybernetic.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were going to say something.
Yeah, no. I sort of like the whole, the combat and stuff, and so, if this is in the vein of Bayonetta, then it's going to be good. That would also explain why it's been released on the Switch first, because Platinum Games seem to have a deal with Nintendo to release their games there first. So,
I think they've always had a good relationship.
But the thing is, you look at this, right? This is running on the Switch at full res.
Yeah, and it looks good.
And it's like, why can The Witcher?
Because this doesn't have massive draw distance. It doesn't have winds,
but the thing is, you can
blowing.
Yeah, the problem is you would need to rejig the engine to mask draw distance.
Exactly.
But
it's a technical level that we don't really appreciate until you start tearing down each layer.
Yeah.
If you can imagine, this is, I don't know, maximum 5 layers deep of foreground, player character, background.
And the other one is 15 layers deep.
Exactly.
Well, the problem is obviously that The Witcher was made for the PC, where you can just spoonfuls of RAM. You got the virtual RAM. You're running off the hard drives, so that way, it didn't matter. It was just a case that the machine would just chug through it, whereas consoles are more limited. Yeah. Still, it's. I suppose you wouldn't want to say, well, the game's been created already. Why waste engineering resources rebuilding the engine and changing assets so that it can accommodate the thing? I don't know, but yeah, Astral Chain. I give it 3 thumbs up, even though it's not released yet. What is next on the menu? We have
a very lush. It really reminds me of Breath of the Wild in its look. It's called Gods and Monsters.
Gods and Monsters. I am not familiar with this one.
I caught the end of the little bit where they were showing it. The trailer kind of makes it feel a bit like Breath of the Wild as well.
Of course, Breath of the Wild has its own sequel, which is very much awesome. Like Breath of the Wild,
which is awesome. I like just knowing it's coming out on the same system is good news.
Yeah, because
of late Nintendo had.
Whoa! What happened to the trailer? It's like that was very brief.
There's not a lot to say about Gods and Monsters. It seems like it's based in a sort of Greek myth setting.
From the creators of Assassin's Creed?
I hope not.
Did you not see it? It came up.
I did it. Well,
Pay attention, 007. Look, there we go. Odyssey,
okay.
you want to say,
okay.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey is slightly different. But, you see, they had we got all these assets and this stuff. We should make another game.
That still doesn't make me greatly overjoyed because
Gods and Monsters is the Zelda lookalike by the Assassin's Creed team. What if you do stealth kills and stuff?
It looks like it's coming out on everything: Xbox, Switch.
Yeah, multi-formats. Yeah. Mythical RPG. Island of the Blessed, which is similar to a little place called Hyrule. Yeah. Blah blah blah. Open world, sword, bow and arrow, telekinetic powers. What? Based on Greek mythology, and it's telekinetic powers. And that's about it. So they have telekinetic powers, as you do. Pardon me. Right. What else is coming up? This is
a game called Rad, and this is kind of enjoying the same Unreal Engine, of course. It's made by Double Fine, but it's kind of
going to be an Xbox exclusive.
What's the phrase? It's not an Xbox exclusive. I don't believe. What's the phrase?
Okay.
Like Hades, like
the
Risk of Rain.
roguelikes.
Yes, that's it.
That's the word. Yes. So it's a third-person roguelike?
Yeah, kind of third person. It's kind of weird.
I think
it looks like Borderlands, but it's sort of third person bird's eye view, almost like an action RPG. And then you've there are different characters, and there's melee weapons, there's guns, there's special moves. I said it's different characters. Sorry, there's different perks that you can get as part of being a roguelike, which include mutations.
Yeah, because of the radioactivity.
So
he's laying eggs.
He just popped an egg out of his butt. So yeah.
If they hatch, they become new player characters.
It's interesting though. Like there's ones mutations like 6 legs and so on, wings, which allow you to sort of hover.
Okay.
There seems to be quite a few.
And you can just rid yourself of millions of mutations. He's got like different arm, leg, and stuff. I wonder what the limit is on mutations you can stack on yourself.
Do they replace the other mutation?
Yeah, can you? He's got something on his back. Can you imagine just like thinking, well, I'm just going to grow extra arms so that I can get even more mutations. In not enough arm slots. Grow some extra arms.
And again, summer 2019.
Bandai Namco.
Yeah, it's being released by.
Oh.
And again on everything. I mean, I think this would be
that's
pretty good Switch game.
This game obviously was announced before they Double Fine were purchased. Is it Double Fine? No, I'm thinking someone else, aren't I? Was it Double Fine that was purchased by Microsoft?
They weren't purchased.
No, but they were. Microsoft were buying studios. Double Fine.
I don't think they were purchased. I think they've gone into partnership, I want to say. I know there's no such thing as partnership with Microsoft, but
Microsoft acquires Double Fine Productions. Yeah, they've had, essentially it's a Microsoft studio now, so they own it. And yeah, that game was done, was in the works because obviously Bandai are publishing it, not Microsoft. But yeah, because Microsoft wanted to, studios for not first party games. They want to get more exclusives. In the war against Sony. So
that's been their whole draw the entire last 3 years, because they seem to be hoovering up studios, and the ones that Sony have been hoovering up have been garbage. It's like they've been hoovering up garbage.
Isn't that what you suck up the dust?
Yep, that's Sony. I mean, it's obviously it's down to the individual whether they like the games being produced. I mean, this game isn't for everybody, but this game could be great on the Switch. If you've got 20 minutes to play,
this would be a great thing. You just complete a level, head back to base, save up, and put the device away.
Yeah, it's it has almost that arcadey look. He's pooping out little octopied versions of himself.
Spider, little spiders with his head on them.
It looks fun.
That's the mutation you want, because then you just poop out an entire army, and you just send your army to.
I think 3 might have been the limit there. An entire army.
Right, that's quite a lot we've covered for this episode. So wrapping up, any of those games you were particularly excited about? What other games we covered so far? Which one would you most like to play? Even given that some of them were just CGI, which one of those games were you most excited about?
Excitement's a strong word.
Which one were you like? Which one are you least meh about?
Yeah, least meh is probably the right scale. No, I was these picks are the ones I was genuinely interested in. Obviously, there was literally hundreds of games. They're still being shown. I think 3 is still on today,
which we'll cover in the next episode.
But because I don't know, it's almost like a returning theme because of quality with the Dark Souls games and Bloodborne and Sekiro. I'm interested.
Elden Ring,
the Elden Ring's kind of the sort of top level of my PQ'd interest, and that seems to have had the least. Like, that's apart from Gods and Monsters, which was on this as well. That's almost the least footage. There's no gameplay footage whatsoever of that. But I'm still interested.
Because of the improvements made in Sekiro, if that's backported into a Dark Souls game, how much better will that get?
Well, yeah, I mean, iteration of improvement is something that's definitely happened through those games.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's my sort of top level of interest. But looking at, like, as a side note, like, Astral Chain looks like great fun. Rad looks fun.
It looks rad.
And then you've got, like, Cyberpunk, which...
Or Deus Ex Cyberpunk. Deus Ex 2077.
I really enjoyed playing Deus Ex Human Revolution. I didn't play the one after that because it looked like the same game again. And I thought, no, I'm okay.
I completed this one.
Yeah. I'm okay. I don't need to spend another 20 hours on this, or 10 hours, or however much. But yeah, that's sort of my... I guess it would be Elden Ring, to play Elden Ring, and then probably Cyberpunk and Astral Chain.
Okay. Yeah, Astral Chain is gets my vote out of those in terms of which I'd most like to waste my time on. Although I did like the Creature in the Well. Look like a good game to sort of dip in and out of as a snackable game, to play on the Switch sort of thing. Anyway, that was your episode. Any last thoughts from you?
It's going to be a long wait before most of these even see the light of day. Apart from the ones that are coming out that are already made and basically coming out in the next couple of months. But if you're thinking of games, like the majority of games are March/whatever 2020, there's a whole cycle of ups and downs of your anticipation versus, footage being shown, beta testing, horrible servers, Yeah.
So the TLDR, some games coming out soon, some games are not. Right. And that's it. See you later. That was the Digital Suffering Podcast. If you'd like to suffer some more, you can find other episodes on Red Circle, Spotify, Google Podcast, Apple iTunes, Stitcher, Radio Public, and SoundCloud. Please like and subscribe everywhere.